Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, a place for insightful conversations about building sustainable schools of excellence. Join me each week as we explore the importance of leading with your values, creating impact, and leaving a lasting legacy. My goal on the show is to provide you with clarity, elevate your mindset, and equip you with practical strategies and inspiration. I'm Chanie, a proud mother of four, a former New Yorker, now savoring sunny Florida vibes. With a professional journey spanning 18 years across all levels of school leadership, I bring nuanced insight that delve into the intricate details of running a center, as well as the broader visionary aspects of leadership. Thank you for joining me for this conversation. Let's build a legacy of excellence together. Hello there, and welcome back to the Schools of Excellence podcast. Today is a very unique podcast. This is a recording from a workshop that I did on my retention intelligence framework. So today's podcast episode is a little bit longer. It's actually a full hour because in this workshop, I really break down 7 buckets of staff departure, the six channels of intelligence, of how you actually gather data and intelligence to understand why staff leave. I walk you through the 3 types of staff demographics so that you can understand, what are your staff demographics? We walk through decoding the data. There's a lot of time to do the actual work. So if you're multitasking or driving while you're listening to this, you totally can, but I would definitely go back and listen and take notes. We had a couple people who watched this episode 3 times actually, and had their HR managers watch this as well and listen to this, because it is full of information for you to understand how to create a proper retention intelligence framework so that you can hire, onboard, and retain phenomenal staff. So let's dive right in. Okay, so for those of you that are new to Schools of Excellence or have never been to any training before, kind of don't know who I am, I'm Chanie. I'm the founder and owner of Schools of Excellence. We're a coaching and training company that works with school leaders across the globe, helping them build and sustain schools of excellence. So I want to just give you kind of a brief overview of what we're really going to be diving into in the next 60 minutes that we have together. So the retention intelligence framework is a framework that I created over about a decade and a half of research and conversation, but also hours and hours and hours of talking to program directors, curriculum specialists, enrollment specialists, the owners, franchise owners, corporate leaders from all types of schools, faith-based, play-based, Reggio-inspired, Montessori, it doesn't matter. All of the data has been brought together in this framework that I created. So we're going to go over the data advantage, so understanding the 4 pillars of informed retention strategies. I'm also going to be diving into the 7 buckets of staff departure. So I'm going to really explain to you what those buckets are, how to really understand what makes sense for you. This is going to be a combination of information and also working sessions. So make sure that your tabs are closed, your phone is off, you have no distraction, and you have a paper and a pen in front of you, because you're going to want to do the exercise along with me. Phase 3, I'm going to go over the 6 channels of intelligence. So how to really understand where to pull intelligence from. I'm going to go over mapping your school demographics. So you need to actually know your unique school demographics. It's different from the school next door. And we're going to be diving into the numbers speak. So how to actually decode the data. Okay. So just pop into the comments for me, whether you're live or watching the replay. How many of you feel like you have some sort of retention system, but maybe it feels more like hacks and gimmicks or things that you kind of use when you have time? Just let me know in the comments, what are some of the things that you already feel like you're doing specifically towards retention? Again, this is a working session. So you guys are going to want to get into the comments. It's not keynote style, right? Where I'm just sitting and talking to you. It's a working session. And hello to everyone that just joined. For those of you that could be on camera, I always love seeing you. So if you can, always best if you can join by camera. Okay. So Maria, consistent communication. Yeah, that's definitely a component of retention. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, welcome to those of you that are just joining. We're just getting started. I'm just kind of laying the groundwork of what we're going to be going over today. And we have people popping into the comments and just, hi, Erin, good to see you. Oh, it's so good to see you. People are just popping into the comments what they're currently doing now for retention. Okay, so longevity, annual bonuses, team support. Okay, great. So again, like we have a whole heap of ideas. Today's training is really going to be about understanding the data that is going to inform decisions, because as a school, and especially in a contracted economy, nobody has unlimited resources, nobody has unlimited time, nobody has unlimited money. And so you need to, or unlimited people. Everyone has a shortage of all of the above. And so if you don't have unlimited resources, then you need to make sure that the decisions that you are making are data driven. Okay. So, what are the four pillars? What are the four pillars of informed retention strategies? Number one is accuracy over assumptions. When you use data, which is what I'm going to teach you how to do today, data reveals real patterns and trends. And sometimes they contradict with your gut feelings or your anecdotal evidence, right? That's why you need data. It prevents miscalculations of resources. That's the first reason why you want to be here and actually use data. Number two, you'll do targeted interventions. So instead of doing like, oh, it'd be really great if we got better at this idea, or it'd be really great if we did coffee chats, or it'd be really great if we did this cool idea that I heard at a conference, or this cool idea that I saw in a Facebook group. No, you're going to run targeted interventions that is precisely pinpointing the reason that your school is struggling with retention. The school next door might not be struggling with retention, right? The school next door won't be doing that. You need to understand why your school is struggling with retention. Okay. Three, cost effectiveness. By identifying the most significant factors driving turnover, you can prioritize interventions that offer the highest return on your investment, right? That's what you want to be doing. And lastly is predictive power. Historical data patterns predict future retention, right? Use predictive power. Understand how to use predictive power when you are making decisions. Okay. Great. Welcome to everyone that just joined. Thanks so much for joining. We just went over like high level, the four pillars of informed retention strategies, like why you have to use data. And now we're going to really be diving into the 7 buckets of staff departure. Okay. I'm manning a bunch of things here, so you'll excuse my multitasking just a little bit. Okay. I'll be fine. All right. So why did I choose these 7 buckets? I chose these 7 buckets because they are specifically contextual to education and early childhood. So I am not giving you ideas of like what I saw in the Gallup study or what I read in Harvard Business Review. No, these are real reasons why staff leave in the early childhood sector. Okay. And these are going to be actionable based on the life cycle of a teacher. No one stays in a school forever. Like the marriage is forever. Everything else has a cycle. Okay. And so we need to understand the life cycle of an employee and of a teacher. Okay. So what are the 7 buckets? Number 1, role fulfillment and work environment. That's the first bucket. Does this job provide meaningful satisfaction and a supportive atmosphere? So this is the first bucket. Now, again, you're going to write down all these buckets, make space on your paper, because what you're also going to do is you're going to pull out your teacher roster and you're going to start cross-referencing when we get up to that part of the exercise. So make sure you have space under each of these buckets. Again, these buckets are why staff leave. You do not have all the reasons. Your school is going to have some targeted and a little bit of, a little bit of all. It could be a little bit of each, okay? Number 1, role fulfillment and work environment. Number 2, comp and benefits, okay? Comp and benefits, which is, does the pay and the perks, does it satisfy me? Okay. Number 3, professional growth and development. Does the organization foster skill advancement and career progression? Okay, I'll repeat it again. Number 1, role fulfillment and work environment. Number 2, comp and benefits. Number 3, professional growth and development. Number 4, leadership and communication. Many people leave because they did not get communicated to effectively. They did not understand their role. It was confusing. They didn't understand what was going on. The leadership they misaligned with. I can't tell you how many times I have owners that I work with that they have directors who they finally fire after they realize that 7 teachers left because that director did not know how to communicate with the staff. That is a core reason why a lot of teachers will leave. Okay. Number 5, organizational alignment and culture. Does the person's personal values align with the company? Their work styles, right? Their personality, like, does it actually even make sense? Right? We had a teacher, a client had a teacher who left because she's like, I didn't even realize that I had to like multitask. Like, I had to like, there was a kid crying, but I was in the middle of tying another kid's shoe, and I had to take care of the kid who was crying while tying the shoe. I'm like, welcome to childcare. What, you think you could just tie the kid's shoe? And she's like, I guess this isn't for me. I'm like, I guess not, right? So that's an organizational fit, right? Like, no, this isn't one-on-one babysitting, right? Number 6, policies and compliance, right? A lot of people leave because they don't want to follow your policy anymore. You started holding them accountable, and they're like, nah, sayonara. I ain't signing up for this. Okay? That's number 6. And lastly is season of life, where external factors influence an employee's decision to stay or leave. Season of life. They just had a baby. Season of life. Their father was diagnosed terminally ill cancer. Season of life. Their husband is moving out of town. They can't, that's it. They're moving, right? Like, there are certain things that are just out of your control. Now, the beauty is the vast majority of this list, very much in your control. Very much in your control and your ability to make changes. So pop into the comments for me real quickly, and I want to hear from you. What insight are you having just by hearing the 7 buckets? Just by listening to what these buckets are, right? Role fulfillment and work environment, comp and benefits, professional growth and development, leadership and communication, organizational alignment and culture, policies and compliance, and season of life. Drop into the comments. Again, this is a working session, so Chris, how important leadership and communication is. Yes, it is 100% a reason why people leave. Now, again, what you need to remember is people will tell you, I left because I needed more money. I left because the commute was so hard for me. I left because my back was hurting. No. These are the reasons. They have surface level reasons, but when you dig deeper, which I'm going to go through when I talk about the 6 channels of intelligence, you're going to actually realize the real reason why people leave. Okay? Let's hear from some more of you. Policies and compliance. Yes, that is a reason why people leave. Aaliyah, season of life has been an eye-opener as I reflect on the last few years. Yes, so many people actually leave that it's not in your control. And then what happens is you try to create these interventions to try to keep people that you can't keep. Their season of life has predetermined they will not be here. And so you're running interventions, money, time, people on something that it's like, no. Please put your energy over here where you can actually keep an employee versus over here where it's season of life, that person's leaving. Okay. Let me hear from some more of you. If the organizational values and culture don't match, there's nowhere to grow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, just like that person. No, multitasking is part of the job. You can't tie a kid's shoe and not do something else at the same time. I do 7 things while I'm tying the kid's shoe. Like, you can't do one thing at a time. Leadership and management change recently. Yes. So people will get fatigued when there's a lot of leadership changes because that breaks trust in the organization and also breaks communication style. And then you have to understand also, the vast majority of humans on this planet are not self-aware. Teachers, really unself-aware. So they're not going to have the self-awareness to say, I'm leaving because of this reason. They're going to say, I'm just unhappy here. Like, I'm out of here. And your job as the leader, this is why you need a framework, is to understand what are the reasons why people are leaving. Mandy, personal values don't align with organizational values. Yes, Emily, updating benefits to match the demands of today's workforce. I need you to know, Emily, that less than 5% of people actually leave because of comp and benefits. It's actually a surface level reason. And there's other reasons that are the primary reason. So that could be a reason, but it's rarely a primary. It's usually a secondary. And if you fix the primaries, you're fine. So rarely do I ever advise a leader to fix their comp and benefits as their first go-to strategy to fix their retention. It's usually the last thing you fix. Okay? So I'm so glad you brought that up. Crystal, how can I make policies and compliant leadership better to fit? That's what you're here to do today, Crystal, right? Okay. Student behaviors are getting harder. Maybe role fulfillment and work environment. Yes. But also student behaviors are getting harder. So that's them also understanding the policy and compliance. Like, what does it mean to work in this job, right? How do we actually do childcare? You don't get into childcare to be rich anyways. Exactly. Did I list the primary reasons? No, you're going to figure out the primary reasons based on your data, because everyone has different primary reasons. Okay, this is why this is a working session. This is why this is different. You will not see this anywhere in the world, because nobody is taking the time to decode this, because you cannot decode this unless you have had hours of your ear to the ground listening to schools, which is my bread and butter. This is literally what I eat for breakfast. Okay, so we've gone through the 7 buckets of staff departure, why staff leave. Okay, now we're going to go to the next section here, which is the 6 channels of intelligence. So why do leaders typically use their gut or anecdotal data? Because they don't have real data to pull from to figure out, why did this teacher leave? So they'll use things like, it's our training. We got to ramp up our whole onboarding. It's our training. If we fix our training, we're going to fix the retention issue. It's our this thing. It's our that. We just went through a really hard season. No, stop using your gut and anecdotal data and use real intelligence. So then you have some more sophisticated leaders who are like, well, we do exit interviews, but not everyone sits down for an exit interview. Or, once someone's leaving, they already have a bad taste in their mouth, so they're probably going to lie on their exit interview. So how do I know that the data is real? Good question. That's why you need intelligence. You need to pull from multiple sources. Pull from multiple sources. So what are the 6 sources? What are the 6 channels of intelligence? Number 1 is exit interviews. Just let me know in the comments, yes or no, if you are currently doing exit interviews. There's 2 types of exit interviews, and I have these frameworks that we teach inside of our membership. One is a simple multiple choice for whoever's not going to sit down with you in a face-to-face conversation. You'll have people that will absolutely refuse to sit and have a conversation with you, but they will fill out a form. And then the second one is an actual interview, eye to eye, nose to nose, toes to toes conversation. So you need 2 types of modalities for exit interviews. Okay, so let's see here in the comments who's running exit interviews. Okay, we have a combination. We have a lot of yeses, a lot of nos. Okay, we do stay interviews. We'll go into stay interviews. Just started exit interviews. Fantastic. We have conversations, paper form. Okay, so big combination here. Fantastic. Okay, so in the exit interviews, you're going to be able to pull, right, and identify the trends of departure. So you'll be able to actually look at those exit interviews and say, the trend here that's coming up is 50% of our people are leaving because of compliance, right? So you want to make sure that your exit interview matches the 7 buckets of departure, right? And you might need to go tweak your exit interview, because if your exit interview is just like, why did you leave? Sometimes people will have engagement surveys to staff of like, how are we doing? Great. There's nothing I would change. Okay. You ask the most ridiculous questions on the planet. You have to know how to ask good questions to get the data that you're looking for, right? You have to be a sleuth, like a true sleuth in the way that you're asking questions to get the data that you desire. Okay, so that's the first channel, exit interviews. The second channel to gather intelligence is your performance evaluations, recent performance evaluations. That is where you could see their skill gaps, their growth limitations, and their mindset. So in our Schools of Excellence membership, we have the 6 performance keys. That's our diagnostic tool to assess the 6 key pillars of where the teacher is excelling in her performance. Well, when she leaves, if I look at that diagnostic and I see she scored in the red in these 3 buckets, well, that's a pretty good indicator that she's probably leaving for this reason, right? So we have the 6 key pillars and you're looking at performance. So how many of you are doing performance evaluations? Whether you're using the 6 performance keys or not is irrelevant. We have a diagnostic tool, but are you doing performance reviews? Give me a yes or no in the comments, because that is a second bucket of intelligence of where you will gather data. So again, it's not anecdotal or gut of like, well, like I'll hear this from leaders all the time. She wasn't a good fit anyways. She really wasn't good with the kids. Okay, but when you assessed her performance, one of the pillars is teacher-child interaction. So if she scored in the red, did we run interventions on how to bring her to the green? Because if you didn't run the interventions, then you didn't do your part. So you are saying, well, she just left because she wasn't a good fit, or she wasn't good with the kids, or, she yelled at the kids, so we had to let her go. Okay, but that means she scored in the red in teacher-child relationships, which is one of the pillars. We got to get her into the green. How do we get her into the green? well, you need a system for the routines and habits that she needs to adopt to get into the green. What you need to remember, and this is such an important thing, write this down, put it on a sticky note, glue it to your computer. Teachers never rise to the level of your goals. They will always fall to the quality of their habits and routines. Period. You cannot set goals with teachers. You set habits, routines, rituals. So, Miss Amy, you are struggling with teacher-child relationships. You need to get better at it. Let's talk about how your habits and routines need to change so that you will learn how to actually have better teacher-child interactions. We don't set a goal of like, I really want you to get better. Well, what does get better mean? Do you want her to reduce the amount of time she raises her voice? Do you want to increase the amount of time she sits on the floor and actually engages with the child? What do you actually want to do? Okay, and then once you decide that, what are the routines and rituals and habits that get her there, right? This is why you have to understand how to deconstruct things. Because then you're actually working from data. Okay, so that's the second. The first channel of intelligence is exit interviews. Second channel of intelligence is performance reviews. Okay. Give me just a thumbs up in the comments if you're following along so far. Again, I'm moving a little bit quicker because I have a lot I want to get you guys through, but please let me know if you want me to repeat something or whatever it is. Okay, Sonia, we do evaluations and you need to be your vet. Go check out the 6 performance keys. It's in UpCoach. You're a member. Definitely go check that out. You have access to it. Okay, everyone's following along? Okay, Dorothy, you haven't done them in a while. Okay, again, that could be an action item that we put on your calendar. Fantastic. On newer ones, we haven't done them on long-time teachers. Okay, definitely, right? This is why we come to trainings like this. It's like, 1 second, we haven't done this with long-time teachers. Never rest on your laurels. You are only as good as your last day, right? Only as good as your last day. Okay, then you got to run it again. You cannot rely on these things. I was talking to a client last week. She's like, we have a 30-person wait list. I'm like, and you know what? On Monday, it could actually be gone. It could actually be gone. Because all those 30 people all of a sudden found different options. You cannot rely on a wait list. Are you nurturing that wait list? Are you taking care of that wait list? What are you doing? And that's a whole separate enrollment thing, which I'm not getting into. Okay. You want the teachers never rise quote? Yes, absolutely. Teachers never rise to the level of your goals. They will always fall to the quality of your habits and routines. Okay. Yes. The recording is available. I am sorry I'm going fast. Please tell me where you want me to slow down, Ted. Happy to slow down a little bit. Where can I repeat something for you? Okay. I'm going to move on unless we're looking for the quote. Okay, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Third channel of intelligence. Engagement and attendance metrics. I wonder what that data would tell me about the reason why this person ended up leaving. Analyze attendance and PTO patterns. Track their participation in your staff meetings. Their participation in engagement things that happen outside of school. Do they never show up to the, Friday night pizza and beer? Do they never come to the whatever it is, right? That is an indicator that something, now it's not for sure. Some people are in a season of life where when work is done, they're done and they cannot, think of putting on shoes again after 4 p.m. That's fine. But it's an intelligence point, okay? Engagement and attendance metrics. Another thing you're looking is at your engagement survey results. Do you conduct regular engagement surveys? We have a survey, which is it's a culture engagement survey where we're assessing the 5 pillars to build a culture of retention. And so staff are rating how they feel you're doing in culture of retention. The 5 pillars, and this is a separate conversation. I teach this inside of our membership. We have a podcast episode on this also, but the 5 pillars are culture of community and belonging, culture of work-life harmony, culture of accountability, culture of contribution, and culture of promotion. Are you feeding each of these 5 pillars? And your teachers will tell you that in a survey. That gives you data. We are actually doing a very poor job on creating a culture of belonging. Well, when people don't feel like they belong and feel like they're part of a community, they are going to leave. People want to feel like they belong. Are you scoring very poorly in work-life harmony? People need work-life harmony. They need to know that their work life is not going to come at a cost of their personal life. Right? So, no engagement survey. Anyone blah. Yes or no in the comments if you've conducted engagement surveys. Okay, combination. Yes, no, yes, no. Yes, the recordings will be available. I know I'm going fast. I will slow down a little bit. But yes, the recording will be available. The other two, so culture of community and belonging is the first one. Culture of work-life harmony is the second one. Culture of accountability. People actually want to work in a culture that is accountability. Nobody wants to live in a city that doesn't have law and order. Nobody wants to live in a city where there is no law and order. Nobody wants to work in a school where there is no accountability. It works across the board. It works across the board. Nobody wants to be in a place where there is no accountability. It is terrifying. It's actually quite terrifying. Okay? Fourth, culture of contribution. One of the 6 basic human needs is to contribute. As a human, if you are not contributing, you are dying. You are slowly dying inside. This is why people go visit old age homes. Because when an old person gets to contribute to the child's happiness and gets to see that they're doing something, it brings them new life force. Because all of us as a human need to contribute. So many leaders tell me, I don't want to ask the teacher to do that because then I'll have to pay her more. Or I don't want to ask her to do that because she's going to feel so overwhelmed. No. Are you asking her right? Are you asking her in the right way? People want to contribute. And the 5th is culture of promotion. Smart people will not stay in a place where there is no career growth. Now, you will have a lot of amateur players who will stay with you because they're very happy coasting along. But if you want A players, they do not stay in cultures where there's no career advancement. They just don't. You wouldn't. Okay. Deep breath. How we is everyone now like up to speed, up to date? Okay, good, great. So we did 3 so far. 4th channel of intelligence. I call this the collective voice capture. So you know how many of you have things of like, oh, when I walked into the teacher's room, again, everyone's complaining about this teacher. Or whenever I read like the grievances or whatever it is, like people are talking about this one person. You want to have a place where you're able to document the collective voice capture, which is like documented grievances or complaints, insights from other teachers, observations of staff when you go on outings or social events. That will give you another point of intelligence of, wow, this person, whenever she steps out of the classroom and just kind of gets into a vibe with other teachers, she's always complaining and pulling the people down. Interesting. Is that a contributing factor of why other people may have left? Collective, Maria, exactly, gossip. That's collective voice capture. That is what collective voice capture is. Spot on, Maria. Okay. Fifth point of intelligence, stay interviews or pulse checks, whatever you want to call them. Conducting stay interviews with current employees. Now, again, you have to ask the right questions. You can't just ask someone, so why are you still working here? I don't know, because I always have been. Like, what? You have to ask the right intelligent questions that speak to and give you the data that you are seeking. Okay, that's the 5th point of intelligence, conducting stay interviews, right? And we have templates for this. And the lastly is your one-on-one meetings. Your one-on-one meetings will give you massive data into unresolved issues. Massive data. And if you are not doing them now consistently and frequently, that would be the first thing I would add to your calendar. The first thing that I would add to your calendar, not your to-do list, your calendar. You block the time, you put it in your calendar, and you prioritize it. Yes, I will run through the points of intel one more time. Absolutely. Okay, 6 channels of intelligence. Number 1, exit interviews. Number 2, performance reviews and evaluations. Number 3, engagement and attendance metrics. Number 4, collective voice capture. Number 5, stay interviews. And number 6, one-on-one meetings. Now, again, notice how what we've been doing so far in the last 20 minutes is actually understanding data before we go into tips and tricks. Because let me tell you something. Once you understand the problem you're going to solve, you are so brilliant and smart and creative, you'll know what you have to go do. I will give you some ideas also. But too many people start the backwards. They go with, give me all the ideas. I'm like, ideas for what? Ideas for what? How to open the door better, how to paint your ceiling, what carpet you should buy. Ideas for what? You have to know the problem you're going to solve. You have to work with data. Okay. Lots of questions in the comments. I'll come to them after, but I'm only going to answer questions that are very targeted here because I want to make sure that we're staying on course here. Okay? Great. So, we've done our 7 buckets, and we have the 6 points of intel. Now you're going to pause for a minute. You're going to open up your computer or your notebooks or whatever you have in front of you, and you're going to pull up the list of teachers that have left in the last 6 months. Pull up that list in front of you. If you have Bamboo HR or any type of thing, you can actually log into the portal, and there's a button there to click that says like, I think it's like teacher turnover or something, and it will give you that list. So I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes right now. Pull up that list and give me a yes in the comments once you have the list in front of you. You must have the list in front of you to do this next exercise or you're going to feel lost. Okay? You don't have access to your list. Okay. Who would have access to that? Where would that list be? With the HR managers. Okay. So can you ping one of them and say, hey, I'm in the middle of a workshop. Can you give me the list of all the teachers that have left in the last 6 months? And this is also just good for future. You want to make sure that you have this list. This is like, just like you have your calendar in front of you and like you, this is a key part of running a center. You can also look at background checks. That will help. Absolutely. That could be a component of it. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Just give me thumbs up and ready in the comments, please, if you are you'll forward to the team. Great. So then you can stay on and you won't be able to be part of that exercise, but you'll work through some of the other ones. Okay. Yes, teachers you let go as well. This includes fires. Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. This includes fires. Okay. Hi, Ahuva. Good to see you on here. Okay, I'm seeing lots of checks, so I'm going to move on. Okay. So, what you're going to do now is you're going to look at the teacher. Now, again, you're not looking from data because you haven't run the 6 Intel datas. But what you're going to do is you're going to do a baseline gut check, cross check. So you're going to take your list, Amy, Sarah, all the names, and you're going to put them under the category of the reason of why you think they left or why they were fired. So I'm going to give you guys about 2-3 minutes now, and I want you to do that exercise. Take that list and match them. Did this teacher leave because of, role fulfillment, comp benefits, professional growth? Why did these people leave? Okay? So let's run through the exercise. And again, give me just a thumbs up in the comments once you're done so I could just start to see where people are holding. Do we put them under the reason they gave? Well, that's a great question, Sonia. So you think that you're seeing a contradiction, right? You're seeing the reason that they gave you is this, but the reason why you actually think they left is this, right? You can decide, but this is also why you want to run through this framework, right? So you're actually working from intelligence, because she could have given you a reason, but when you run through the other 6 intels, you'll actually be able to see, it's actually this reason. Okay? Now, again, we're not building a spaceship, so it's okay if it's not like fully accurate in intelligence, but you're going for better than what you have now, which is just your gut check and anecdotes. Okay? All right, lots of checks. Okay, come into the comments. Which one scored the highest for you right now? Which one scored the highest? Which category had the most amount of teachers under that category? Michelle, so that's season of life. 7 people moved, so that's the bucket of season of life. Sonia, comp and benefits. Teresa, season of life. Crystal, season of life. Comp and benefits, professional growth, season of life. Okay. Yes, I'll quickly read through the 7 buckets real quick. Role fulfillment and work environment, comp and benefits, professional growth and development, leadership and communication, org and alignment with culture, policies and compliance, and personal season of life. Okay, great. So now we're going to go through the next part of the exercise. We're going to kind of blow up the exercise that you just did so you can recognize how intricate this is to actually understand the data points of retention. So the next thing we're going to look at is mapping your school's demographic landscape. What does that mean? Well, every single one of you have a diverse group of staff that fall into different age brackets, different seasons of life. And so we need to try to create some categories so that we can make good decisions. So I've created 3 categories when it comes to demographics: age, household status, and employment status. What do I mean by that? Age, 18 to 25, the age where your brain is not fully developed. You are still a child. 26 to 35, young, getting married, probably starting a family. 36 to 45, raising young kids, teenagers. 45 to 55, kids in high school, kids going out to college, starting to become an empty nester, and 55 plus. Now I'm going to explain in a minute why demographics matter. So that's age. Household status: single, married or partnered, has young kids, school-age kids, teenage kids, empty nesters. What's their family household status? You have age, and then you have household status. If the vast majority of your demographic is in one particular household status, then you have a very different intervention that you're going to run than if the vast majority of your staff are single, living in their parents' basements. It's a totally different ballgame. You are playing a totally different game. This is why I go insane when I see people trying to copy each other's retention strategies. Do you have the same demographic? Do you have the same everything? It's not possible. It's not possible. And the third thing is career status. Is the person who left a summer intern? Is the person who left a part-time employee, a full-time employee, a college student, a substitute, a lead teacher? Are they a tenured? Are they brand new? They've only been in the school for 3 months? Are they been there 5+ years? All of these things matter when it comes to why the teacher left or why you fired her. So I'm going to pause now because I know everyone's light bulbs just went off in their brains. Come into the comments and let me know something that you just heard that you never thought about before. Something new that you just heard, you're like, I never thought of that. That's so, oh my gosh, wow, thank you for reminding me that. Come into the comments, let me know. I saw everyone's brains go off. Demographics are important. Yes, they are, Raul. They are absolutely important. They're huge. Any other insights? What is interesting that you learned here? 18 to 25 brains are not fully developed. Yeah, absolutely. Even though I had 3 kids before I was 25, but my brain was still not fully developed. Um, Ted, obviously my retention strategy shouldn't be the same as others. Never thought of it the way you described it. Beautiful, Ted. So glad that this is like just a new insight for you. Thank you for sharing. Melissa, big standard of deviation in demographics, not addressing the younger as well. Yes, right? The younger people need trainings, not on trainings that like I need. They need trainings on like, what does it mean to be new to the workforce? Let me teach you how work works in America or wherever you live in the world, right? Because someone who's 20, who's never had a job before, and summer interning is very different than a job, versus someone who's 40, they know what it means to work in the workforce. I don't want to sit in a training of what it means to be new to the workforce. But anyone who's young should absolutely be sitting in a training on executive functioning skills, on morning routines, on time. Do you know how many, this is like my best story. We had a director who was struggling with one teacher who could not, for the life of hers, get to work on time. And she sat down with her and she had a conversation. And in the one-on-ones, I said, I want you to ask her, describe your morning routine to me. Just describe your morning routine. What do you do in the morning before you come to work? She's like, okay, I'll ask the teacher. Anyways, she messages me the next day. She's like, I figured out why she comes late. I'm like, oh, really? Tell me. Well, apparently Wednesdays is her laundry day. And she only does laundry at like 12 o'clock or like 1 o'clock in the morning. So by the time she has to go to work, her clothing are still wet. So she has to wait for her clothing to dry before she can get in the car to come to work. You're all laughing. This is real. So the director said, I have a really good idea. What if you did laundry at 5 p.m. so that in the morning your clothing will be dry? It's a really good idea. Great. And now she comes on time. This is called new to the workforce. It's called basic adulting and functioning. Young people do not have this. Young people do not have this. Not all young people. I swear to God, if my kids ever become like that, I like train them to death when it comes to this kind of stuff. But not everyone does. And so when someone comes to the workforce, they're like, oh, you mean I should do laundry earlier so it should dry on time so I could get to work on time? Didn't think of that. Didn't think of that. Okay. Let me hear some other insights here. Age is huge. It's very interesting. Yes, household status, huge. Household status is huge. By the way, like when I was a director in New York City and I used to interview people, if someone had children, I would ask them at the interview, tell me a little bit about your support structure. Do you have parents that live nearby? Do you have friends? Do you have a sister? Do you have cleaning help? Walk me through your support structure, because let me tell you, if this person has 2 children and they have no support structure, let me tell you how many times they're going to be calling out. A lot. A lot. That doesn't mean you don't hire them. Just remember that that person's going to be calling out a lot because they don't have support structure. Okay? Emily, my previous retention plan isn't working because my new staff is a different demographic. Exactly. This is why you have to constantly come back to this, because people's season of life change, cycles change, right? Values change, priorities change. Okay. Crystal, maybe a good idea to recruit from multiple demographics to help keep retention under control for different seasons of life. Absolutely. So I just recommended to 2 clients who have college students. And so what happens is in August, like this time of year, they're always short-staffed. And I said, interesting. Let me explain to you why you're short-staffed. Your college students who ran that cycle just left, right? At that point, your new college students didn't start their semester yet. So you have a 2-week gap. And it happens every year. Guess what? You could plan for it. You can find substitutes to fill the gaps during those 2 weeks, right? And both of them are like, amazing, I'm going to go do it. I'm like, no, you're not. You're the owner. You're going to go have your directors go build out that system. That is what retention intelligence looks like. That is that in action. Okay. Who's season of life is out of our control. Don't harp on those employees. Exactly, right? Use your energy for things that you actually can control. Simply thinking about the role position was an eye-opener. Yes, right? Are most of the people leaving part-time? Are most of the people leaving full-time? Are most of the people leaving assistant teachers or lead teachers? Where do we need to direct our onboarding energies to, right? It's not just we need to revamp our whole onboarding. Do you? Or do you need to revamp the onboarding for assistant teachers? Do you need to revamp the onboarding for college students? Do you need to revamp some of your onboarding for the new to the workforce people? Who do you need to revamp it for? Who needs tweaking? Don't come in and burn everything down and be like, I got to start all over again. No. Deep breaths. You don't have to revamp everything. Okay. Thinking about household status, I just hosted a fun staff day. I was disappointed that I only had 3 staff come. Those staff were in an age bracket that brought them together, all staff from single demographics, right? Such great insight here, Stacy, right? So powerful. Household status is a huge component, absolutely. Young single mamas is my jam, apparently. Well, we got then, right? Then your retention system has to be built with rituals, routines, structure, and habits that support a single mom's pain points and what she needs help with. Versus someone else might not have any single moms in their demographic. Okay, then you don't need Erin's track. You need this track. This is why you can't copycat. Okay. An instrument to help you identify demographic criteria. This is the demographic criteria. Now you just match your employees and just see who fits where who, right? Yes, it's the best question. It's not about being discriminatory. We really want to create diverse and inclusive cultures. And I have a school to run, not AI bots. I need a physical human in that building. So if I know that you don't have support structure, that's okay. You might be a phenomenal teacher. I'm just gonna have to figure out who I pair you with, because that classroom is gonna always be short staffed, and I ain't getting my butt in there. So we have to figure out what's gonna happen. Right? So that you have to be mindful of these things. Support structure is very good. Brenda, the work ethic of 18 to 25 has changed. I was 25 with 3 kids as well. Yes. 25-year-olds don't want to work. Yes. Again, that's a whole separate conversation. I do have a podcast series on multi-generational in the workforce. You could definitely go check that out. I share some insights there, but it absolutely has switched. So now how are we going to solve it? My single parent staff are most likely to leave for higher pay. I disagree with that. Because if your single parent staff finds support structure and community and belonging in your center, and they feel like they are mentally, spiritually, emotionally supported, they are not going to leave, because you cannot put a price tag on mental and emotional and community support for a single parent. So I actually really disagree with that. People need community. They need mental and emotional support. So they might tell you, I'm going to leave because I'm going to get $2 more there. But they're actually going to cry themselves to bed every night because they don't have a support system. They're not going to last there. And we have a responsibility as leaders to actually communicate that to our people. I've communicated to people many times when I was a director, I understand you need more money, and I understand I can't give it to you. Let me show you what you do have that isn't money, that you can't put a dollar on. Let me explain to you the structure that you have, that the moment you step out of here, you don't have this structure anymore. And when very nicely, this is not manipulation, it's very nicely, and she's like, I didn't even realize I had all this infrastructure. I didn't even realize that I had all this support. If I leave here, I lose all of this. Yeah. Okay. Never thought about revamping due to demographics. Light bulb, individualized retention to each employee. Yes, or again, demographics. It's not each person needs their own retention system, but you can batch things. Absolutely. Sometimes they need to leave. Sometimes they need to leave to understand what they had. Oh, absolutely. Right. I have a responsibility as the leader to communicate and educate. And then ultimately the person will go make their decision. And then they will figure out, what they need to figure out for themselves. Right. I love all this. Good. So happy. Okay, great. So now we have done your top reasons. We've done some mapping of school demographics. And that's a separate exercise, which we're not going to do here, because you did the first exercise, which you just mapped everyone. You want to do a separate exercise where you cross-reference demographic, because that's how you decide, how do I change my onboarding? How do I integrate some of the new hires into the school culture? What are our new hires struggling with? Let me look at the data, right? And this is a process. This is not done in a month or even 3 months. This takes time to put together slowly. And we're going to go through rapid initiatives and long-term initiatives. Okay. And I know I'm slowly running out of time, so let me continue here. Okay. And let me take a drink. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work through the numbers speak, which is decoding the data. You've done a little bit of it, and I'm going to walk you through the final stages. So what you've done so far is you've compiled and you've categorized. So you've gathered the data that you have over here, the 7 buckets, and you've organized your staff to fit in the 7 buckets. We've counted themes, so within each bucket, you've seen how many staff in each one, so you have a little bit of a frequency of like, I have 20 staff, X amount of people fit inside of here. That goes into the calculating percentages. So you're going to determine the percentage of departures for each theme and bucket. So if I have 50 teachers and 30 people left, right? Or 20 people mention workload issues, that's a lot of people out of 50, right? So you also have to know the percentages of what you're weighing it against. Someone who has a small school who only has 15 teachers and 13 of them left because of this, holy crap, that's a lot of people, right? Versus if you have 75 teachers and 15 people left for this reason, that's a little bit of a weighted out. That's a different focal point. That's a different focal point. I don't know if I'm hot because I'm talking a lot or someone turned the air conditioning off in my house. And it's Florida, so I'm like, guys, what's going on? Okay. So calculate percentages. Okay, lastly is rank and prioritize. Okay, so now what we're going to do is you're going to look at your list. And again, you're not going from the 6 intel points. So you're going to do the best that you can. But you're going to need to prioritize now. What is your bucket that you want to work on? Right? So again, 50 teachers, 20 mention, workload issues or whatever it is. Okay, of the 20 people that mentioned it, 15 are college graduates and 5 are tenured teachers. Okay, I want to work on this issue, so I need to figure out strategies for the college students and for my tenured teachers. Right? So you're doing a combination of the top issue and then which demographic you want to focus on. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes. Let's do that now so you can know which first thing you're gonna go after, because then I'm gonna give you guys some strategies. Everyone clear what they have to do? Yes? Anyone need any explanation? Happy to do that. I'm also gonna take questions soon. Okay, and then as always, just give me a thumbs up in the comments once you've done this exercise of rank and prioritize. Interesting. So a lot of you are seeing a pattern of staff that are leaving and come back within 6 to 9 months. Well, this could be an interesting priority for you to look at. Of those people that left and came back, what were the reasons why they left? What were the reasons why they came back? And then your job is to bake those reasons better into your rituals as a school, so that they don't have to leave to go find it somewhere else. It is baked into your culture. That is your initiative right there. Whoever wrote that, that's your next 90 days. Figure out what that is, put that into your onboarding, put that into your integrating of new hires, bake that into your culture, bake that into your rituals. And I'm going to walk you through some things about how to get this into your calendar. Okay. All right, everyone got their top priorities? Okay, so let me know in the comments now, what is your top priority? After you ranked it, what came up at the highest? If you're like, okay, this is the one I got to tackle, and this is the demographic. Let me know in the comments. Everyone who left was season of life. Those who I fired was policy and compliance. Okay, Michelle, I'd love for you to break down the season of life. Like, let me know, like, it was they moved, they got pregnant, terminally ill, a family, someone died. Like, give me the things of what you have identified as season of life. Becky has policies and compliance as her top thing. Org alignment and culture. Great. Okay. Moved, had a baby, moved. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go over a couple of some of my older but more rigid employees have trouble with policy and compliance, especially when it requires technology skills. Yes, right? So we're again, this is so great, right? Where it's like, my older staff struggle with the standards that we've introduced on tech. They're phenomenal in every other area, but they're really struggling here. Let me do a one-on-one with them, use one of the 6 intels, and figure out where's the mindset block. Is it truly a skill block? They actually don't know which buttons to push. Is this a mindset block where they're just like, don't teach me anything else, I know what I have to do? Is this a overload block of like, I have way too much going on in my brain and I cannot learn anything else? Why are they resistant to the tech? And then you can coach them on that versus just waiting for them to leave because they couldn't figure out how to click the stupid button, right? What a silly reason for someone to have to leave. Okay. My top priority is to keep my longtime Judaic teachers, one of whom is the majority of staff that left most were single moms who were full-time, asking for more pay. Okay, so again, like interesting. A lot of moms left because they were single moms. Is there something that our school wants to do as an initiative to support our single mom families? Now you could decide, I don't have capacity, I don't have money, I can't do it. Okay, then you're going to stop attracting the single mom demographic, which is okay if you decide that your school can't sustain that. But understand that if you're not going to create initiatives around it, that demographic is not going to exist in your center anymore because it's not feasible for them to work there, right? Certain people enter seasons of life where they just can't work, the graveyard shift. So they leave because their season of life doesn't allow them to do that anymore. Okay. All right. So now let's go. Let's break down. Have babies, too busy at home. Those I fired were policy and compliance. Okay. Gossipers, complainers, right? So again, your top priority is the policy and compliance. We need to figure out how to create a culture where staff are engaged enough to follow policy and compliance and don't need to leave. This is where mindset comes in. This is where coaching comes in. This is where one-on-ones, classroom observations, performance reviews, all the 6 intel channels that I spoke about. That is where you do those things. Can you give me an example of a possible initiative you might do with single moms needing more pay scenario? I could answer that question at the end. Let me get into some of these other rapid response initiatives. But these are all really good questions. Okay, so when we have chosen our biggest priority, we need to look at this from 2 perspectives. One are the rapid response initiatives. What can we do right away in next 30 days? And then what is the long-term strategy, right? 2 different plays. Let's say you have a policy and compliance issue, okay? Because a couple of you had that. All right, what would be the rapid response? The rapid response initiative would be to look at what are the 3 biggest offenders of policy and compliance. Is it cell phone? Is it dress code? Is it coming on time? What are the top offenders? Once you figure out what the top offenders are and which demographic they fall into, right? So the top offender is this, they typically fall in this demographic. Okay, what is the rapid response that I could do here? So give me some examples in here. I'm happy to do like on the spot coaching here. So if you have college students, for example, and their, top offender is they don't come on time. Well, college students are young, which means they really, really struggle with time management and executive functioning. So your rapid response initiative right now in the beginning of the school year is to bring that group together and do a morning routine training with them. Teach them how to set up a morning routine. I will never forget when I first got married. My husband and I were little kids, right? I was 22, he was 24, and he needed to be at work at 7:30 in the morning. We lived a 10-minute drive from the house, and he would wake up at 7:10 to be at work at 7:30. And every day he would come home and like, I was late to work again. I was late to work. I'm like, I would have fired your ass so long ago. I don't even know how your boss still keeps you. My dear love, it is not possible to be at work at 7:30 if you wake up at 7:10. When you wake up at 7:10, you need to wash your face, you need to brush your teeth, you need to change your clothes, you need to take a shower, you need to pack food, you need to eat breakfast, you need to go down 2 flights of stairs, you need to find the car, you need to heat up the car. It is winter, it is New York City. You need to drive up the busy streets. All the buses are moving. You need to find parking. How the hell do you think you could do that in 20 minutes? Oh, I didn't realize I have to do all those steps. I know, because you're not breaking down the morning routine, right? Now he doesn't do them. Now we laugh about it, right? 15 years later. But let me tell you something. Your young people do not recognize, oh, 1 second, I forgot I have to feed the cat. You have to feed the cat every single effing day. Put it into the calendar. Stop running out the door and then the last second, I came late because I had to feed the cat. No. Or I came late because the bridge came down. The bridge goes down every day. Every day the train comes. Every day the bridge comes down. Leave earlier. There was train traffic. Every day there's train traffic. Welcome to the New York City subway. Get out of the house 2 minutes earlier, right? That is the rapid response. Individualized. I used to struggle with that as well, time management. I know. I have a 14-year-old son now. He has to be at the synagogue at 8:30. He's like, you can wake me up at like 8:20. I'm like, sure. Of course I can wake you up at 8:20 because you think you're Superman and you could fly all the way to, over there. No, you can't. There's one bathroom for you guys. What if you wake up and your sister's taking a shower? Huh? Well, I didn't calculate for that. Well, you should. Because you don't live alone and you're sharing a toilet with other people, right? College students forget about this concept. Well, I was late, like it took me more time. No, there's one bathroom for 4 of you. You have to figure out a bathroom schedule, right? Now, it sounds so simple for us, but this is so foundational and basic where young people literally do not understand how much time it takes them to shower, to use the toilet, to brush their teeth, to make their hair, to put their shoes on, to go outside, to close the door, to heat up the car, to take off the snow. All of these are steps to get to work on time. Okay, come into the comments, insight that you're having. Okay, again, rapid response initiative. Now, some other things that we had here. Let me look at a couple of other things. I'm going to look at a couple of other examples here and questions that came up. Okay, priority, setting up a program and resources to assist the moms. Okay, great. So you want to do a survey for your single moms. What do they need? What type of support do they need? Where is the biggest struggle for them? Is it the morning? Is it pickup? Is it drop off? Is it arrival? Is it when the school has closures? Is it on legal holidays? When is it hard for them? Is it when their children have, random sicknesses or doctor's appointments or what? Like, what is hard for them? So that you actually understand, what can I create with the resources I have available to me to support me? I want to tell you that so much of the time with single moms, their biggest support is helping them understand how to create a schedule, how to actually manage their time in the morning, how they can actually put their kids' stuff out the night before. Don't assume that they're already doing all those ideas. They're not. They're not, because it's difficult and it's hard. I have a huge support system, and sometimes I still forget that I could do certain basic things to function better as a human. Okay. Helpful, Erin? Awesome. Okay. So rapid response are things that you could do in next 30 days. Long-term initiatives are, let me look at my onboarding. Where in my onboarding could I have better communication about policy and compliance? So if policy and compliance is an issue, and it's a reoccurring issue, I'm going to do rapid response initiative so I can solve it. But where do I need to be more communicative in the onboarding process about what this job is actually about? Where can I do better in the hiring process? So I'm vetting people that actually understand the policies and compliance. If you're struggling with leadership and communication, where in my calendar can I add more time for one-on-one meetings? I will tell you that if you had leadership and communication come up, you are not doing regular one-on-ones, you are not doing regular classroom observations, and you are not conducting regular site tours. It is not possible for you to score there and do those things consistently. So, great. Where do I need to update my calendar to reflect what I can actually do long term? If you're struggling with gossip or those things, right? Most of our clients have created gossip policies and they sign that. When teachers come in to the program, when they get onboarded, they sign the gossip policy. This is the policy in our school around gossip. You must sign here. This is the accountability measures we put in place. And then a long-term strategy is culture. I have a whole podcast episode on gossip. Gossip is a social skill. It's a maladaptive high school sorority social skill, but it's a social skill. It's the way women talk to each other and communicate with each other. Gossip is, across all data points, higher with women than men. Okay, what could be my long-term strategy to combat gossip? How can I create better, more effective ways that my staff can talk to each other? One of the ideas that I gave, and a bunch of our leaders have done this, they've put question starters in a basket in their teacher's room. So when the teachers sit together, instead of gossiping, they pull out a question. Let's talk. Do you know how many people don't have basic social skills of just like, hey, how was your weekend? Instead, let's talk about the teacher. No, how was your weekend? I know that your dad just started chemo. Tell me about it. How are you guys doing? That requires vulnerability. Okay, that's a whole separate conversation. How do we create a culture where people can be more vulnerable with each other? Intelligent people talk about ideas. Yes, yes. I don't know who says this quote, but I use it all the time. Thanks, Roberta, for reminding me on that. Okay, last steps here, and I know it's 2:00. Implementation here. All right, what are you actually going to do? What are you actually going to put in your calendar where you're like, I am going to do this after today's 1-hour training? And again, we have the replay. You can come back and watch this. What are you actually going to do? Let me know in the comments. Sherry is going to do stay and exit interviews. Fantastic. Okay. Teresa's going to map the demographics for all her staff. Love it. Where am I? Sarah, trauma-informed culture and trauma-sensitive school training. Why did you choose that, Sarah? Why was that a choice? I'm curious. It's interesting. What made you make that decision after working through the framework? Roberta, actually going to propose that our supervisor team sign on and do a co-study of this. Fantastic. Dorothy, performance evaluations, fantastic. Melissa's going to do one-on-ones with me and the new directors. Great. Remember, all of this needs to get into your calendar, or the moment you leave here, it's poof, it's gone. It's a great idea that never happened. Mandy is going to revamp her hiring and onboarding to really make sure we're hiring the right people for our center. That's too vast. You're going to revamp the hiring for who? For the college students, for your tenure students. You're going to revamp the onboarding for who? We want to get specific. We don't want to just revamp things because that is taking a lot of time, energy, and money towards something that might not need to be revamped. So where specifically are you going to revamp the onboarding based on what you learned here today on the data? Erin is going to create surveys with the leadership team. One-on-ones to help them cope with their schedules. Beautiful. Sonia's going to restart their one-on-ones. Crystal's going to look at her exit interview data. I love that. Ali's going to have her directors watch this. Fantastic. And then meet with them for reflections and implementation. Smart leader. Jerica, first I'm going to rewatch. Then I'm going to map out the demographics. Fantastic. Sonia's going to do stay interviews. Yes. Okay. So now let me answer some of the things. A lot of you asked for templates and stuff like that. So I want to share with you, for those of you that enjoyed today's training, Thank you so much for joining. I love doing these trainings all the time. I want to share with you some ways that you can work with Schools of Excellence to get more resources on this and more support. So when you're working on retention, it's not an isolated issue, right? So when we're looking at the educational landscape, school leaders, as a school leader, you're facing high staff turnover, time management pressures, classroom performance observation, parent partnerships, parent retention, and culture. These are some of the top things. And so what you want to be looking is not just, I need a retention intelligence framework. I need a suite of frameworks and tools to help me optimize my role as a leader. So in our Schools of Excellence membership, we have this retention intelligence framework, and we have all of the templates. So exit interviews, stay interviews, engagement, stay interviews, all the templates that you plug and play to make sense for you. We have the 6 performance keys, which is your comprehensive diagnostic tool for performance reviews. We have our school leader scorecard, which helps you understand how to prioritize your time. We do calendar audits. This is a new thing that we just introduced in the last 30 days, where we do calendar audits of leaders to help them align their daily actions with their strategic goals. We do profit audits of your time. Parent partnership blueprints. All of these blueprints are there to support you in an ongoing way. And the way that we support you guys, not just with the frameworks, is regular check-ins, expert guidance, coaching from me and other success coaches. And so for those, I'm going to put the link inside of the comments here. For those of you that are interested in saying, I need more than this. I want support. I want mentorship. I want coaching. I want these frameworks. I want these templates. The Schools of Excellence membership might be a great option for you. It's a no risk to apply. You apply, you and I will get on a right fit call, or you'll speak to myself or our admissions advisor, and she'll get an understanding. We'll get an understanding of who you are and if this is the best fit for you. The biggest thing I want you all to leave with here today is every single one of you who are here live or watching the replay have learned something new here. You've learned a new framework, a new insight, a new perspective, a new question to ask. And for that, I'm grateful. And I know that the ripple effect is going to be huge in your centers. For those of you that want to go deeper and want more support, I would love to invite you to click apply over there. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with this. We will be sending out the replay within 24 hours. If you're on our email list, you will get that replay. So you'll be able to click and watch the replay. It also was live streamed on a couple of platforms. I don't know where it ended up going, so you could definitely check those out over there as well. And I will stay for 5 more minutes for any individualized questions, because I did promise time for questions, and I'm sorry that I didn't get the time for that, but I will stay here for some questions. Okay, feel free to unmute or post your question. Raul is going to map demographics, revisit the way that we're hiring. Can any of this sync up with Bamboo HR? Which part, Victoria? Which part to sync up with Bamboo HR? Let me know, and I'll happy to answer you. Ted, oh, so glad you found this valuable. Thank you so much for joining. Aaliyah, great as you. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Roberta, I'm going to have my EC and HR credentials. Love that this is a lovely marriage of those two things. You're so welcome. You are so welcome. Erin, thank you so much. Yes. Mwah. Thank you for joining, Erin. Mandy, so glad you found it helpful. Diana, fantastic. Okay. Bamboo, which are the performance review portion to see the 6 pillars. So we have some of our clients that use the 6 performance keys. I believe 1 or 2 of them have asked Bamboo HR to align it, but most of our clients that use the 6 performance keys use the data to inform promotions, bonuses, raises, and kind of their pay scale based on performance data. So, but it could be a great conversation to have with your team. Teresa, it's been an eye opener. Love the perspective. Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you all for joining. Fantastic hour. Wishing you all the best, and please apply if you feel it's a right fit for you. Take care, everyone.
If you are loving the Schools of Excellence podcast and have gotten any value out of it for your school, I would love if you can do 2 things for me. 1, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And 2, can you please leave us a review? Reviews help other school leaders know that this is the place to learn how to build a school of excellence. And I would be so grateful if you can do that for us. Your help and support makes this show to be able to be listened by the thousands of other school leaders all around the world. Thanks so much for listening, for giving us your time and attention each and every week. And I appreciate that you have joined us.